Damn, what is going on, everyone? I got it just right. Welcome to the Ominus show. The show that talks about everything about comic books, pop culture, comics gate stuff, anything that tickles my fancy, anything that catches my attention, anything really. If I see anything interesting on the interwebs, I'll bring it to your attention here. And yes, I am your host. My name is Ellie Rodriguez. You can see my name right there. And I am the host of the show, and I am also a South American comic book artist, a Comics Gate artist. I draw a lot of cool Comics Gate shit. And yes, I'm reporting to you live from Peru. What's going on to everybody out there? All my Peruvians who probably don't know I exist, but it's all good. I got one Peruvian that knows I exist, and that's my man right here, Dennis Rodriguez. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Yeah, I'm officially late and JD gay. 2 minutes late, man. I was reading something on Twitter again, and it took my attention. Shit. I want to talk about comic books, and yeah. So welcome to the show. I got a great show for you today. I'm going to bring on a guest who's going to get a second chance. Is going to get a second shot at promoting his comic, for crowdfunding his comic. And I want to get to know more about the project, the IP, him, everything. And so we got a good show today. We got the Ominus wheel coming out. No, was that Malin's post you read? Yeah, I was reading that in Razor Fist. Some crazy shit that Razor Fist posted. So yeah, but we'll talk about. I think I'll leave that for tomorrow because I need some content for tomorrow's show also. But yeah. So if you've seen the thumbnail, then you know who my guest is. He's been in the chat bombarding us with news and updates about his comic. His comic is called DEMI-FOOT Urban Sasquatch, and we're going to get to know more about it in just a few seconds. So without further ado, let me see if I get this right. Without further ado, please welcome to the stage my guest for today, Darin Wagner.
Hey. Clap one more time. You're not coming to my birthday. Who did that? Giggity.
It's always funny. What's going on, Dan? How you doing?
I'm going good. How are things in Peru? Darkest Peru.
Yeah, man, it's crazy over here. We've had a president get vacated from office 2 weeks ago. We got a new president in there. And we have elections coming up in like 6 months. So we're changing presidents like changing a new shirt.
Goodness.
So it's crazy.
Gotcha. By the way, that reference was Paddington the Bear. Paddington the Bear from the
nice.
British story. When they passed him where he was from, he would always say darkest Peru as if there's a...
nice.
So that's where that came from. So
nice.
All right.
Yeah, over here... Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, the only thing I know about Peru, many years ago when I was in the service, my submarine did war game exercises with the navies from various South American countries, and the two that impressed us the most were Peru and Chile. Chile had the most aggressive submarine and surface warfare vessels. So we were, that's when I think of Peru, I think of these guys that really gave us a run for our money in the war game exercises. So that's all I know about Peru.
Oh, nice. Were Peruvians also like some of the military men there giving you guys a hard time also, or was just the Chilean guys?
No, it was both. The Chileans had a more aggressive diesel submarine division, but the Peruvians had really good destroyers, and they were able to find us more quickly than we anticipated. So,
sweet.
They're very good sailors out there. So
nice. Yeah, because I don't know. Well, you probably don't know this, but here in South America, Peru and Chile, they have a strong rivalry. It's like USA and Mexico type rivalries. Whenever those two countries, in any kind of sport, any kind of event, if it's like I don't know, like a wine tasting contest, we're always got to try to outdo the other. So it's rough over here with that. But
yeah, that's probably why they were like that. It's like once we had our war games with Chile, they're like wanting to know how we did against Chile, and then they wanted to try to beat Chile's.
That's exactly what. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, awesome stuff, man. And so And just to give the people in the chat just some information, you are the creator of DEMI-FOOT, and you launched that a few months ago, I think, on Indiegogo. Is that correct?
Yeah. On Indiegogo, we launched it on Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th, and it did not make goal. It was my first crowdfunding campaign, not my first comic book, but my first crowdfunding campaign, and so it was quite a learning experience for me. We didn't make goal. We made it about 40%. Now the goal for DEMI-FOOT was higher than what you would normally expect from other creators because I pay a very good page rate and we also want to account for any things that might surprise us, right? So Definitely. It was $8,000. We made it up to, I believe, 42% of goal. And with Indiegogo, you have to reach goal within 2 months, and then if not, it's over. And once it was over, I said, okay, so what do we learn from this experience? What are we going to do differently this time? And I've had a lot of great people come up with me and offer suggestions on how to make it better, and have been able to answer my questions. You, in fact, were one of them. I mean, we are going to be having a 24-hour trading card, illustrated by an artist that everybody in your illustrated by an artist that everybody in your audience has heard of, and I will not say who that is yet because it's still sort of in the works. But I don't want to announce that until later on. But that is in the works. Very good idea from you, Elliot. I kind of wish I would have thought of that back in June, but that was. But again, not my first comic book, but my first crowdfunding campaign is what that was. For those of you who don't know, I did a series for Alias Comics. That would be Mike S. Miller's company from about 20 years ago. We did a comic book called Hyperactives with an artist named Clint Holinsky, who is also in the Comicsgate community. He's the king of boobs right now, so he does those kind of comics now, but and other kinds as well. But so I did that, and then I did a Christian superhero comic for Bethany Comics for about 30 some issues. So it's not my first comic book, but this is now my second crowdfunding campaign. It is on Indiegogo. It's on Fund My Comic now. Big difference. And I'm still kind of learning some things about the differences. I've got sharing right now the campaign. It is approved but not yet launched yet. We're in hot standby, waiting for a few other things to be finalized. But it's a very similar setup to what we had on Indiegogo, except we do now have a digital tier. Some people said, where's your digital tier? And I'm like, I don't like digital. I like paper. And they're like, so what?
For the sake of having having more readers, maybe it could be a good idea. Also for the international backers, it's always a good recommendation.
Yeah, they really opened my eyes to that, because I was one of these fogies who don't like digital. I prefer paper, but they're like, look, you're gonna reach more people if there's at least a digital tier available. So we now have a digital tier for $8.
Sweet.
Or it will be when it opens. Single issue. Sorry, my window's open. There's
no worries.
I live in Harley Davidson country, so. But one issue for $15 plus shipping and handling. We also have the Jumbo Javelin trading card. Oops, sorry, go ahead.
Wait, if you could just give me a second, because
sure.
Here on the show, we like to do. I like to do.
Okay.
I like to be at the mercy of this thing that we call the ominous wheel. So we try to switch things up.
Gotcha.
We have here a few topics that I would like to talk to you about, and then we'll hit them as we go there. And I got DEMI-FOOT on here as one of the topics that we will hit. No, but if you don't mind, then we'll do it. We'll do it like this. Is that okay?
Yeah, this is a really cool way to do it. Yeah,
sweet.
Lead the way.
Awesome. And I want to say hi to the people in the chat. We got Dennis is in the chat as always. We got my sister here. Got awesome updates about Ominus that I'll share with you guys tomorrow or today, very quickly, if you guys don't mind. Just wanted to officially announce, or just officially repeat the idea. That that fulfillment for Ominus Avenging Death has finished. We have completely sent out all the orders. I think Darin, you were sharing.
Yeah, I got my copy about a week ago, and very, very outstanding comic. And I had, okay, full disclosure, I haven't gotten to read it yet, but I was just looking at the material, the material quality of the issue, and it is outstanding. The art appears top notch. It's got a guy with a big old honking sword on the cover, and who doesn't love that? So
awesome. Thank you, man. I hope you like it. I'm planning just one thing that I wanted to send all the backers a link with a survey on it, because I would really like to hear your opinion and see what is good, what is bad, and how can I improve, what things I could change. What did you like? What did you hate? So I have a survey that I'm going to send out maybe next week, but yeah, whenever you get to it, there's no rush at all. But thank you very much for your support. So yeah, we got DV in the chat. We got Infamous Mr. Cursed is in the chat. Great to see you. We got Apex is in the chat always. Great to see you, man. Dennis is like, hail D-Wag. Oh wait, that's not no.
Yes, I'm not D-Wag. Unfortunately, he's much younger, much better looking, much better at this microphone stuff than I am.
Yeah, he's an act. Yeah, he's definitely entertaining. Super entertaining, that guy.
Yeah.
And then Apex says Dale Keown DEMI-FOOT trading card. That would be awesome if you can get that.
I would not say no to that.
Yeah. And then it says, so if Darin's book is not fun, we can blame Elliot. Oh man, yeah, the pressure's on. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dr. Mask is here. And yeah, so just to show you what we got here on the picker wheel, or the Ominus wheel, we got these topics: comic creator origin, which in that one I would like for you to talk on how you got into making comics, not necessarily reading them as a hobby, but just what made you get into the comic creating gig, and then DEMI-FOOT, tell us about DEMI-FOOT, so now you can go over the campaign. I would like to also do this 3-minute pitch. I'll give you 3 minutes, and then you give us your elevator pitch on.
Gotcha.
On I think it's great exercise, not to to get to that habit, especially when you go into these bigger shows. It's 3 minutes is vital, 2 minutes is vital, so that's great exercise. And then top 5, I'm gonna ask you a series of just random top 5 questions, like a top 5 writers, top 5 top 5 TV shows. I don't know. Also, the people in the chat, you guys are more than welcome to join in, chime in, and then send us your questions. And then random questions. I got a series of just random questions that there's no purpose at all, other than just to get to know you a little bit more. So
okay.
So let's dig into it, and let's see what will come up first.
Alrighty, it's fun.
All right, good. It's a great. I would like to know, tell us, continue please about your experience with the campaign, and also if you can tell us what plans do you have for, what things would you like to do different on this campaign that we can look forward to.
Okay, well I have lined up our teaser trailer for this. If you want me to play it, I'll go ahead and do that first.
Okay,
go ahead. Right.
911, what are you reporting?
We got someone or something crawling around out here.
Did you see what it was? Was it a person or an animal, or?
I can't tell. All I know is that my sensor light came on and I just happened to glimpse and see this thing running across the yard. A good-sized man or something. It looks like a man. I don't know what it was, just that it ran across the yard.
Okay. You've had problems in the neighborhood before?
Yeah, my dog was killed here just recently. I don't know what it was. Whatever it is, it's running. I couldn't catch it if I was going to chase it. But whatever it was standing up. I'm out here looking through the window now and I don't see anything. I don't want to go outside. Jesus Christ, you better...
Sure.
See up!
Hello?
Get somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh. Okay, hang on.
He's right...
Is he in your yard, sir?
Yeah, God, he's big.
Okay, what's he doing in your yard?
He's looking at me.
Oh, and the guy is on foot.
I don't know what... It's a big... real big person. That's all I can say.
Okay, but it is a person.
Yeah, I'd say it was a person, somebody really big. But he's all in black.
Is he a black male or a white male? Did you actually see whether, or was he just wearing black?
He's all black and he's big. He is big.
All right.
Sweet. Awesome stuff, man.
All right.
you
Thank you. Yeah, that's an actual
Right, tell us-
911 call, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and put up the. Okay, so people want to know
About
about
DEMI-FOOT.
DEMI-FOOT. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about DEMI-FOOT. Now, DEMI-FOOT. DEMI-FOOT was born out of my lifelong fascination with the concept of Sasquatch and other cryptids, along with my love of monster heroes like Swamp Thing and the Incredible Hulk. Originally, the story was going to be about a rogue male Sasquatch that kind of wanders into a city park and doesn't go away. Gets in and out of trouble there and rights wrongs, things like that. But I started writing that, and I quickly realized that I couldn't tell the kinds of stories I really wanted to tell with a character that had so little humanity. So I took a step away from it again. And a couple of weeks later, I was watching the old 1957 movie I Was a Teenage Werewolf with Michael Landon. And that kind of got my gears turning in another direction. And see, in the film, Michael Landon doesn't actually play a werewolf in the supernatural sense. He's the product of science gone wrong, and it mimics the supernatural werewolf. So, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't watched that movie, he basically gets injected with a drug and then hypnotized, and that's what turns him into a monster. So something very similar happens with Marvel's Morbius, the living vampire. Morbius, living vampire, is a product of science, but his abilities just happen to align with most of the abilities of a vampire. So that got my gears turning in a different direction. What if I made this character a human being with Sasquatch abilities and characteristics? I didn't want to write I Was a Teenage Sasquatch, though, so I aged him up into his 20s, and I made him a U.S. Navy veteran because I'm a U.S. Navy veteran, and that's kind of my default setting for a lot of characters. Sweet. And the character, it's a lot like how I view Spider-Man, right? Spider-Man, Peter Parker gets bit by a spider that's been mutated or irradiated, and he develops the abilities of a spider without really developing like spider characteristics, right? So that's kind of what we have here. So, for example, most Bigfoot experts who have analyzed audio recordings and interviewed people are convinced that they have more than one set of vocal cords. Now, human beings only have one set of vocal cords. So DEMI-FOOT can do a lot of the same things they can do, but not as well, because he's still working with one set as opposed to a full-blown Sasquatch. And by the way, as the story and these stories progress, and the character is established, he will eventually encounter authentic, full-blooded Sasquatch, and the physical differences between them will be very stark. I mean, you'll be able to tell the difference. He actually looks pretty good looking compared to them. But if if a normal person ran into this guy, obviously they'd say, I just saw a Bigfoot. Well, then, but if you ever saw him side by side with another Bigfoot, that's, there's a stark difference there that you'll be able to tell immediately. The art, by the way, I haven't mentioned him yet. The art is done by my favorite Irishman, John Dillard. He's one of the most outstanding Irishmen you've ever met, right up there with Shaquille O'Neal. That's a running joke that we have backstage, but he's really done. He keeps outdoing himself. He was doing these pages and this art in between pages he was doing for MGP, Mighty Golden Patriot, and he kind of used DEMI-FOOT as a bit of a palate cleanser. Just so he can get away from the drawing World War II stuff and Sentai stuff for a little while, and so he really enjoys drawing this character. So we're going to try to get this going here very soon, and then we'll get him that work. And this is just the beginning. The idea is that I'm not going to be telling stories about DEMI-FOOT the whole time. DEMI-FOOT is just the vehicle for this kind of stories that I want to tell.
So it's like
Yep.
a Strange Tales, and then this one focuses on DEMI-FOOT, but then you'll transfer over to another monster. That type of thing.
No. DEMI-FOOT will still be the main character, but it'll be about his experiences going on kind of an odyssey.
Okay.
Just like how Marvel Comics takes New York and amps it up into a superhero city. Here's a better example, perhaps. If you've read Marvel Comics, you know that anytime anybody goes to Canada in Marvel Comics, what happens? They run into Alpha Flight, one of Alpha Flight's enemies, or the Wendigo, or whatnot. You know, so what Marvel presents is a fantasy version of New York, and also a fantasy version of Canada. Well, I'm presenting a fantasy version of Wisconsin and the Great Lakes region. And so, this character will not just explore, the world of cryptids, but he'll also be fighting and encountering actual supervillains, encountering proper superheroes as well. But it'll all be rooted in what his area provides initially. So, if you think about like the early issues of the Incredible Hulk, they mostly took place in the New Mexico desert area, right? And so that's kind of his home base as well. He will venture away from that area. DEMI-FOOT will, in fact, fairly early on, but he'll always have that as sort of as his home base.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And is DEMI-FOOT? You said you've written before for other comics. Those other comics that you wrote, were they like work for hire, where you had to write someone else's idea, or were they your ideas as well?
Hyperactives over at Alias, when I was working with Mike Miller and
Clint.
And Clint, that was creator owned.
That was your idea, also. Okay.
That was our idea too. Yeah, and Clint helped with that as well. That was my first real comic book assignment. I had met Clint at a Minneapolis convention and pitched it to him, and he was. At the time, he was the artist on Devil's Due's Voltron comic. He'd been doing that for a couple of years, and he really wanted to get away from drawing robots. Yeah. He wanted to draw people in tights again, superheroes, and so that's why he jumped at that opportunity. So, and then after that, I did work for hire for Bethany Comics, which was a small comic book publisher based out of a church that provided Christian superhero comics to very little kids. We're talking very little kids. Like, so these were like 1 or 2 clicks more sophisticated than the old Hostess ads you used to see in comics, where the Hulk would or Batman would defeat the Joker by throwing him an apple pie, that kind of stuff. We're talking very, very simple stories for very little kids, because during the MCU's first 3 phases, superheroes were huge, and so that's how you got kids' attention during that time was to do that. So, but yeah.
So this is one of the many ideas that you've had along the way in your writing career, no? So
yes, yeah.
Okay.
And I've a couple of things. Yes. The root character is DEMI-FOOT. DEMI-FOOT is, as I mentioned, a human being who has been granted Sasquatch characteristics involuntarily, like so many other superheroes find themselves foisted into situations that they didn't want or didn't choose, and so you're dealing with that concept. But he's not the kind of character that laments his situation. He's going to very quickly adapt to where he finds himself, and in fact, in the future, he may not strive for a cure, or try, So I mean, we're really trying to, go ahead.
He'll embrace his powers, his stuff.
Yes, and we've seen stories like that before with Ben Grimm, for example, the classic scenario of him being cured and he's back to normal, but then the Fantastic Four need him, so he's got to step back into the machine and change him, go back, and so he can help his friends, things like that. So we've seen that before. This will be a little bit different, but so
Bigfoot comes
with Bigfoot comes big sock. Yeah, so but yeah, this image that I'm showing right now is a homage that Dillard did of Incredible Hulk 314, I believe, which was originally a John Byrne cover where the Hulk was featured and then all of his usual foes were sort of surrounding him. So we did something very similar there with this. I don't know what
That's
Miku
like
Miku is. But yeah. But yeah, do you have any questions that I can answer?
Oh yeah. So the campaign the first time around didn't go so well. What differences are you looking to implement, or would you consider implementing for this next campaign?
We're waiting for an opportune time to launch as well.
Okay.
The launch date is more important. The is important, especially as for a second attempt. Because, and by the way, anybody who did sign up for the DEMI-FOOT on Indiegogo campaign will also be notified when this comes out as well. So if you've already signed up for it on Indiegogo, that's fine. Right now, I'm having a bit of a problem with MailChimp in integrating it into the site for a sign up. So I have to look into that. But we have some time. I was going to. It's kind of interesting. I was going to launch on Halloween, but then Mike Barron's Bronze Star 2, which I'm very much looking forward to, is launching this coming Friday as well. And and so I thought, well, okay, let's make every delay count to make this better. And so we're looking at November now, and as soon as I do get the signups working, we'll make sure everybody knows, and we'll put out that. But we also now have this new feature for the first 24 hours of the card that I'm very excited about. And so any backer of a physical reward, they will get this trading card for free. Yes, yes. Any backers of the physical issue will get the physical card within the first 24 hours, and so that is going to be a lot of fun, because that's the artist that I'm working with on this is one we all are familiar with. So
can you give us any clues without giving us the name?
I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid I can't. I would love to be able to do that, but I don't want to. Okay, maybe I could give you some. Okay, I'm going to say it one time. He is a king.
Oh, sweet. Oh, I think I know who it is.
Yeah.
I think I know who it is.
Yeah.
It's a CG king.
A CG king.
I'm trying to get. He says, "Don't be nosy." I'm trying to get an exclusive for the channel so everybody can tune in. Leave the artist as a mystery. Okay. Now they're getting at me. All right. Yeah. It's a mystery artist. All right. Cool. So we're going to get a trading card from a mystery artist. All right. Sweet. Yes. Whenever launch day comes around, he says lots of big campaigns launching around Halloween. Best to get some distance. Yeah, I think that's a good idea actually. Because right.
And the other thing, the Indiegogo campaign, everybody got refunded because that was a all or nothing campaign, and I think that even though it didn't end the way we wanted it to, that shows that I'm serious. I'm doing this for. I'm not. I'm doing this to make this comic and make this eventual comic series. It's not. It's not about me wanting to buy. Grab a bunch of money and then you never see me again or whatever. That's just,
because that has been done before, and people are really scared to back, especially first-time creators, and so we have a lot more to prove than your average, creator out there. So it's an uphill battle. So we gotta chug along.
Dillard will not let me not fulfill it either. So he's chomping at the bit to get this done. So.
Dillard's a name. Yeah, we've known him for a long time.
Okay. Yes, let's clarify for Dennis Rodriguez. The one it's definitely one of the artist type CG kings. It's not Katie did. but that would be all I'm saying about it.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
This is exclusive to until it's announced. This will be exclusive to your stream. That hint will not be given out anywhere else. But so I mean, like I say, there is so much to learn about this. This crowdfunding thing, you can't just jump into it like I did without getting burned. But there have been, like Clint Linsky, for example. I keep mentioning him. He his first couple of crowdfunding campaigns didn't go through either, and it took persistence. It took figuring out what went wrong the first time, and then starting it again. And the one thing that people kept telling me was, "Don't give up, try again." I am glad that I moved to FMC for this too, because Indiegogo is doing some weird stuff right now.
Indiegogo is chaos right now. Yeah, it's a shitstorm over there. I don't know what's going on. So I'm glad I did my thing on Fund My Comic also, because also I'm hearing like payouts being difficult. So can you imagine, like, you fulfill, you did everything great, and you don't get money for payout and fulfillment? That would suck. So that Fund My Comic, people, that's the place to go.
Yeah. And you can the designer owner of the website, Luke Stone, is relatively reachable, as opposed to Indiegogo, where you're talking to a junior adjutant of a department or whatever, so I mean, much more homegrown. And
I vouch for that. I can attest to that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like the fact that I don't, because I did do this. This one will be an open storefront, so I have as much time as I need to get to goal, and so that'll account for something here.
So, if I may ask, you say this campaign is going to go in storefront mode. Now, how is that different from the all or nothing mode? Do you have like an infinite amount of time to get the 8 Gs that you need, or is there like a time limit? Does the book get made after you get? How does that work?
After it, when we reach goal, that's when fulfillment would start.
Okay.
We have to reach the goal, obviously, in order to be able to finish up what we need to finish up, and then start printing it and saying. So that's the current plan. And it's a little bit more in. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So if the campaign is going for, like, say 2 months, 3 months, 4 months with 4 Gs, 5 Gs, 6 Gs, nothing is going to happen on like the fulfillment end. Like, the book's not going to get printed. It's not going to get made until it actually hits the 8 Gs. And then in that moment, then that's when full steam ahead. Is that correct?
No. We're going to, we're going to be using the money to, first of all, get the book completely finished. And so let's say, for example, a couple thousand come in or whatnot. I was just throwing a number, a couple hundred. That will immediately go towards Dillard, so he can finish the pages. And then once we hit the goal of 8,000. Then we'll be fulfilling. So because by that time he will have been paid, and we'll have the pages, and then things will start. And then obviously if you backed, if let's say you backed a tier that had a lunchbox or something at that point, then we'll also be putting those in production, and we'll start fulfilling. But this is more, I guess, more in keeping with what a lot of other people on crowdfunding do. I thought it was important for my first crowdfunding campaign to do an all or nothing campaign, just because nobody knows. Plenty of people know who John Dillard is, and definitely he's helping me with a lot of this stuff. But very few people actually know who Darin Wagner is, and if they do think they know, it's the other guy, D-Wag. So that's the uphill battle that I have at the moment. So
with more subsequent appearances on more channels and stuff like that, you'll get your name out there, and then people will associate you to DEMI-FOOT, and that's great. That's great for that you get more airtime out there.
Yeah,
and you're also a recurring guest on Katie Did's channel. Is that correct?
I have been known to pop up there and cause trouble occasionally. Yes, last time I was there, I kind of hopped on her stream without a plan, and I got scolded by Crazy Cat, so I have to be on my best behavior next time I go back there. But it's all in fun. But
he gets at me too for talking too much.
I'm sorry.
Like, he gets at Crazy Cat also yells at me also for talking too much. They got to keep it short, sweet. Stop talking. Shut up. It's good. It's good. Well, the chat keeps you along like that.
You have to. Yeah, you have to mind the chat, and that is something that I sometimes forget. So it's good that he's doing that. But
awesome. That's great. So then you have your launch day set up. We got this 24-hour trading card. Then you're going to continue with the storefront mode, and then if you don't necessarily hit the 8K, people will still be able to get their books. Is that correct?
Right. Right. Yeah. We're going to keep this open for a while. The and a lot of people have talked me, if you launch a book, don't launch it between, November and December and January, because that's like the dead zone, right? I'm like, well, people can still back in that time. And And so it might be, if everybody else, if people are not launching campaigns during that window, I think that's probably how I'll probably be doing it here, because
that's also something that I've seen also, that usually November, December, January are months where things are like normally slow because people are completely focused on Christmas and the holidays, and so there's a lot of people that may not. Also, I mean, but that doesn't mean that you can run a campaign, because I have known of Mark Bolton to do a campaign in January. I have seen Ethan and Malin do campaigns in December. So I mean, it is possible, but yeah, awesome. That's good.
Especially for something that doesn't require 2 months to meet goal, and so But yeah, I mean, for anybody who even during Christmas, I mean, I think most people could afford a $15 comic plus shipping, and so even if it's just a stocking stuffer for you or whatnot. I mean, blockbuster movies are launched in the Christmas season, so I mean, people have money they can spend on entertainment. So that's part of my philosophy here. Sweet. But yeah, any other questions?
I think that's it for me. I don't know if anybody has any questions in the chat, but either way, if you guys have any questions, please just go ahead and bring them on up, and then I'll make sure to ask Darin here, and then he'll let us know about it. So let's take a look at the next thing that we have here on the wheel. And hello to Don. What's going on? Good to see you, man. Don't forget to watch the show every Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern, I think. 7.
Top 5. Okay.
Top 5. Now, this is for the chat also. If you guys have any questions you want to ask, like top 5 swimsuit edition models, I don't know. You guys go ahead and ask your questions. But I'm going to start off with top 5 writers. Who are your top 5 writers?
Oh, my goodness. Okay, well, honestly, my favorite, you're talking about comic book writers or just writers in general?
Let's do top 5 comic book writers and then top 5 other writers.
My favorite comic book writers tend to be writer-artists, like Frank Miller, John Byrne. These guys who not only could think up the idea but also could draw it themselves. I mean, there's something so complete about that and their stories. So top 5: Frank Miller, John Byrne, Mike Mignola is also one of those guys. For the last 2, I would probably say Peter David, particularly in the earlier part of his career. Yeah, and well, there was a time when I probably would have said Mark Waid. However, I'm not going to say Mark Waid because Mark Waid is kind of
he's kind of an asshole. I'm just kidding.
He's kind of exhausted his capital with me. Yeah. Yeah, Kurt Busiek, I think I'd have to put in there. Early Kurt Busiek. His material, not only for the big 2, but also his creator-owned comic, Astro City, has always been a brilliant production and brilliant storytelling. Yeah.
Awesome. The top 5 writers? Like regular writers?
Oh, regular writers. Okay, so regular writers, novels.
Not necessarily comics.
Not necessarily. Harlan Ellison, the late Harlan Ellison. I actually got to talk to him a couple times, and that's a whole other story. I do like Philip K. Dick, very influential. I do like Robert Heinlein. Percival Everett is another writer that I've enjoyed. I actually attended a workshop with him back in Minnesota many years ago. He was one of those authors that did a writer's workshop, and I was able to attend. And I guess the last one, once upon a time I would have said Stephen King, but Stephen King has once again exhausted his capital with me. So let's see. I'm going to go with Peter David again, because Peter David wrote a novel called Howling Mad, which is very hard to find now. And it is a werewolf story where he inverts it, where a werewolf bites a wolf and the wolf turns into a human being during the 3 nights of the full moon. It's very bizarre. And he takes that idea as far as you could probably take the idea, and it was an entertaining read. I enjoyed it.
Sweet. And then Dennis has a question here. Wait, Byrne managed to write X-Men? Wasn't he under Claremont all the time? I think what what Darren's referring to is like he has the ability to write it and to draw it. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah. Byrne wrote and drew Fantastic Four, which a lot of people think is his best work at Marvel, and obviously Alpha Flight as well. And then he went over to DC to help revamp Superman. He did that for 2 years. Came back to Marvel, revolutionized the Avengers with West Coast Avengers, and also his She-Hulk title. So I mean, he was a writer artist for most of his career. And only in the very beginning was he an artist working for a writer, or working with a writer. Yeah.
Yeah, Don's throwing in the name Isaac Asimov. That's also a great writer. Interesting.
Honestly, he is a great writer, but in terms of my favorites, he's not my favorite. So I mean, I don't hate him either, though. So don't.
Don, you got horrible taste.
Don't say I'm a hater of Isaac Asimov. I don't hate him. He's done some very influential stuff, and he was certainly a favorite of my favorites. Harlan Ellison loved Isaac Asimov, for example.
Sweet. And top 5 artists, comic book artists.
Okay, well, John Byrne was an early favorite of mine, and still is to this day, despite everything that's happened. I'm also a huge fan of Art Adams. Skip ahead here. Just talking about their artwork. Of course, the '90s was defined by Alex Ross. So the 2 watershed books of the 1990s were his, Marvel's. And Kingdom Come. So have to say that. Dale Keown. Is another one because
Keone.
Yeah, Peter David's run on the Incredible Hulk, his initial 10-year run, was the most important run on that title, and Dale Keown got to draw the most important part of that run, where everything that Peter David had been building up towards happened, and then he launched into something new. It was with the merged Hulk and everything, and Dale got to design a brand new version of the Hulk that was both new and familiar at the same time, and I don't think a lot of artists got to do that. So yes, my hat's off to him. How many is that? Is that 4?
You got Byrne, Ross, Keone, Art Adams. One more. Don draws. No, John Dillard.
John Dillard, obviously, but before I met him, I would have probably also said Mike Parobeck, the late Mike Parobeck. He did the comics that were meant to look like the Bruce Timm Paul Dini DC comics. So he did like DC Adventures and stuff like that. That kind of art style, that retro art style, I really like. And
Sweet.
I miss him being working and being alive, because that's awesome. That was very tragic.
Yeah. Rest in peace. And top 5 Comicsgate books that you've gotten received back, supported. Top 5 CG books.
Okay, so first of all, number 1 slot, I'd have to go to Bronze Star.
Sweet.
Mike Barron and Pat Broderick. Pat Broderick was an artist I remember reading his comics when I was a kid, and the fact that he's still there. And his artwork has only improved since then. He's perfect for that rustic style. I gotta go with Cyberfrog and Ethan, because it's Cyberfrog, and I love the fact that it's not just about him; it's about the world around him, and you care about what's happening to the other characters in the comic.
You're gonna get kicked, Don. You're gonna get kicked. He's like Air July number.
Eric who? What?
Eric
no. All right. So let me just hold up. I'm looking at my stack.
Darren's looking at his stack.
Von Klaus's Terror in the Trenches is another one.
Oh, sweet! I've heard so much good stuff about that.
Yeah. It was. He found a really great artist to go ahead and do the Terror, and that was one I was very, very pleased with. Aaron Lopresti's Wraith of God is also one that I liked a lot, and not having ever, I think, read a comic by Aaron Lopresti until I backed Wraith of God. That was a great introduction to what he can do. And again, he seems to be also a writer artist as well. He might get a little bit of help from other people, but it looks like he's the main guy. So that was great.
And you got one more. You got Bronze Star, Cyberfrog, Terror in the Trenches by Von Klaus. And we also got Wraith the God by Aaron Lopresti.
Mm-hmm.
One more book.
And I would, see, I haven't gotten my Gemshock copy yet. So, and I haven't, obviously nobody's gotten their Pit trade paperback yet. So I can't include them. Even though I did read Pit back in the day. The Image Comics got destroyed in a flood. So I that's one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to the trade paperback, so I can reread those stories again, because they got destroyed. Part of my collection got destroyed many years ago by a flood. So no, you know what? I think I'm going to go with Doc Blaylock's A Damn Dirty Thing.
Sweet.
And he's in
Doc
Comicsgate, and it's a crime noir comic with about a supernatural. It has a supernatural bent to it. It's about a detective. It's the usual, fedoras and black and white cinematography kind of deal. And so Doc Blaylock's A Damn Dirty Thing would be my number 5.
Awesome. And then Don has to go. Take care, Don. Great to see you. Great to have you here. He says, got a jet to have a great show. Back, Semi Longfoot. Oh, man. Damn 30 Thing is good. Yeah, sweet. Yeah. Awesome. Great. Top 5 comic runs. Like, for example, if you were to recommend to like a newbie, a newcomer to the scene, like what 5 runs would you say you have to read this? These are like the best comics ever.
Okay, so
for example, I hear Mutant Massacre all the time, like series runs like that. Like, what would you recommend?
Mm-hmm. I would say Peter David's run on the Incredible Hulk, especially starting with Todd McFarlane. Then he worked with Jeff Purves, then Dale Keown, then Gary Frank. Those 4 artists that he worked with on Hulk, because those are the best material that character has ever had. Sweet. Walt Simonson's run on Thor is also one that redefined that character from the 80s forward. I mean, a lot of what you see in the movies came from that run. Yeah. Although they did kind of mangle a lot of it. It's still very influential. Bart Sears and I believe it's DeMatteis wrote Justice League Europe. If you can find Justice League Europe that started after the crisis in the 1980s over on the DC side, if you can find that, the first 2 years of that are great, and also the first 2 years of The Savage Dragon by Eric Larson over at Image. That was a top of the stack, must read as soon as you get it kind of comic for me. It's changed into something that I don't really. It's changed into something I don't really enjoy anymore. But those original 2 years of Savage Dragon were some really great comics. They reminded me of RoboCop. They reminded me of typical monster hero stuff. But Justice League Europe, Justice League Europe is one that a lot of people forget about, and it was about the Justice League setting up an embassy in Paris, and there were all kinds of humor that I don't think you could get away with now about the French and how rude they are and all that kind of stuff. And it was just very dated. Yeah. They hated the fact that not one of the Justice League could speak French. For example, they were constantly getting dissed, and so it was fun, and it also introduced a really good set of villains called the Extremists, who turned out to be, and I didn't realize this when I was reading it as a kid, but later in life I look back and I realized, oh, these are Marvel villains. They're just, so you had a Magneto sort of parody. Sweet. You had a Dr. Octopus parody called Gorgon, and they whooped ass, and Bart Sears got to design them, and they looked really neat, and it's a fun comic. and one that doesn't get talked about a lot anymore. So that's why I'm talking about it.
Sweet, and then you have one more run. Because you got the Hulk run, Thor run by Simonson. You got JL Europe, and then you got Savage Dragon.
John Byrne's Fantastic Four is also a must read. You can find that in omnibus form because that's, again, writer-artist, cohesive storytelling. He did a lot of things that went into the later cartoons and movies, but it was originated with his run. So that's a good one as well.
Awesome, sweet. And I think that's it. I don't know if you guys have any other questions in the chat. Be sure to pop them in there if you do. I think we can move on to the next one. I mean, I could do like your top favorite. Oh, what is your favorite kind of music? Your favorite genre of music?
My goodness.
Hip-hop.
Okay, that changes the way the wind blows. That changes the way the wind blows. I mean, I'll be like
top five artists.
Yeah,
to cover just like things in general.
Yeah, I listen to Johnny Cash sometimes. I listen to Alice in Chains sometimes. I listen to nothing new.
New stuff sucks.
Yeah, Mel Torme, I'll listen to a little bit. And a lot of scores, movie scores, like particularly from John Williams and Basil Polidorus, especially when I'm writing, and I want to achieve a certain mood. Like right before I start something that's supposed to be like a classic superhero story, I'll listen to Hoyt Curtin's themes from the Super Friends just to get me in that Saturday morning mindset when I go in to write.
Heck yeah!
So that's Quentin Tarantino writes to music too, and when I found that, I'm like, oh great, it's normal. I don't have to worry about my doing that.
many artists out there. We also draw to music also, and like if you're like you're drawing like a like a horror character. Listen to something dark, if there's an action scene, listen to like some heavy metal, something to get you pumped up. Yeah, great stuff, man. Awesome. And let's take a look now at what we got next. Let's do a 3-minute pitch, creator origins, random questions. What could pop up? We have no idea. Comic creator origins. So tell us.
Okay.
What got you into making comics? What
okay. So I was reading comics when I was a little kid. I was back. I started reading comics in the late '70s, back when you had to go to a spinner rack somewhere, and so we had one spinner rack that was a mile and a half north of my house. It was at a liquor store, and then a mile and a half south of my house was a grocery store. A drugstore that had a spinner rack. So I would bounce back and forth between those two, and that's where it started. I started reading them, and I think I grew up in a small town in Wisconsin that was only 3,700 people. I do think I was probably the only kid or anybody in that town who was buying those comics, because you hit 1983, 1984. That's when they got rid of the spinner rack, and I had to rely on Marvel subscription service in order to get comics, and that was terrible, because Marvel would send you the comic, but it would be sent in an envelope that was open on both ends, and it would always be dog-eared and mangled and stuff. There's no backer board in there or anything like that, no plastic. And then mid '80s, that's when I discovered that about 16 miles out of town, in the next town, was a comic book shop, and I had never heard of a place that just sold comics. It also sold cards too, but I walked in, and it was like going to Fantasyland. Skip ahead. I joined the Navy, qualified for the submarine service, served there, still was reading comics. They had a place called Sarge's Comics almost right outside the base that I was at. And when I got out, I had a real can-do attitude, and that's when I started going to conventions, trying to commiserate with other artists. Met Clint, who was already in the industry, worked with him. I learned a lot from Clint. I sort of joke that he's my freshman recruiter and 101 professor in comics and in storytelling. He was able to tell me all the stuff that I couldn't learn from reading books, like Denny O'Neill's How to Write Comics is a big one.
Yeah.
I recommend to anybody to read that. And even there's even, I'm told, pros who will pick that book up and learn things that they didn't know. So very, very good thing to have and to read. Obviously, there's also How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, which I got when I was a little kid back in the 80s. And even though I can't draw for anything, it's still something that a writer who wants to write for comics should read, because then you get into the mindset of it and what made Marvel Comics different from DC at the time. So that's very good.
The camera angles. There's so much to consider. No, a lot of great stuff that writers have to also understand it. Also,
I got a glimpse at a page of Art T. Bear's for his forthcoming black and white comic, and it totally reminded me of How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, because it was just, and I'm not giving away any spoilers, but it's a couple of characters sitting in a car having a conversation, and the angles he used make that the most exciting page where nothing is really going on. It's amazing how he was able to do that. So that's from an artist who was honed by the big two back at their height. So
heck yeah, awesome stuff.
But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, so you met up with Clint Helinski. He gave you some information, and then you started some advice, and then you jumped in and you started thinking that this is something that I could do, and then you came up with your first book with Alias Comics.
Alias Entertainment, which was Brett Berners and Mike S. Miller's comic book company at the time, and they were doing some comics like Judo Girl, and I can't remember what the other big one was that they had. But anyway, I did a series with them. It was a 5-issue miniseries called Hyperactives about, and Clint and I were playing with the idea of portraying superheroes as celebutards a year, 2 years before The Boys comic book came out, which that's what The Boys is about. The superheroes, so we were playing around with the idea of, what if deconstructing superheroes a little bit, and how would they really be if they were treated like Hollywood starlets, and what would happen to them and things like that. But that Hyperactives came and went, and the industry was sort of imploding at the point, and also, honestly, I didn't fit in very well with mainstream comic book talent. They were all of a certain socio-political persuasion, of which I was not. And when I would go to conventions, even back then. I mean, this did not start with the cancellation of the Kings. This was something that went way back. We're talking 2005, 2006. I would be sitting at a table full of them. At a convention, like having an after convention dinner or whatever, and I would just sit there and I would not join in. It was almost like if you've ever read Orwell, the 2 Minutes Hate, where they all got to bitch about something politically that nobody there could change, and I would not participate. I just sit there, kind of wanted to talk about comic book related stuff and storytelling, and they knew I wasn't one of them at that point, and so doors started closing. But I mean, at that point, things were starting to shut down anyway. Marvel, basically, I remember being at a convention in Minneapolis with Clint, and we got the word that, hey, don't bother submitting anything to Marvel's submissions department anymore, because Bendis and his guys have come in and they've taken every single character that Marvel, even the most obscure ones like Jack of Hearts and Captain Ultra, and they have plans for every character. So don't bother submitting, because it used to be that you could get in by submitting a decent enough 22-page filler story, and every once in a while a creative team would get a little late, maybe somebody got married or somebody got sick or something, and so there would be a gap where the story has to skip a month and they have to have a filler story in there in between. It's happened all the time. And that's how some people could get in, was they could write a dynamite 22-page story that's out of continuity or isn't in the current in the current storyline, and that's how they get their foot in the door. You couldn't do that anymore, so that was part of that little implosion where they really started to go from mass market, or not mass market, but comic book shops were starting to close again, and it was just, everything was starting to become really insulated, and they started hiring writers that it was more about who you knew than what you could do, and at that point I kind of bowed out. I decided to try writing in other formats. I wrote a couple of books, and then I got involved with Bethany Comics, and they were looking for somebody who had experience with superhero comics, but was also a Christian, and they wanted to do something different than what normal Christian superhero comics do. You know, when you look at Christian superhero comics, they're afraid to make their characters iconic looking because they don't, you know, if you have a character where if you have a Christian comics want everybody to think about Jesus, not about the character that's in the story, right? So they'll have a generic superhero who wears blue tights and a red cape and long blonde hair and nothing on their chest, because they don't want to have any iconography on the chest, right? They don't want to have a symbol, because they don't want anything that competes with symbols like the cross and the open tomb. So I said, well, yeah, okay, you can make them iconic without just slapping a symbol on their chest. You know, Marvel did it all the time. Iron Man doesn't have a symbol on his chest. He just has a couple of key elements here and there, and you know it's Iron Man. So we designed some superheroes, and then we were told to make them little kids. They would be like prepubescent kids, like Power Pack over at Marvel Comics, if you remember that comic. June Brigman and Louise Simonson did that comic for several years. It wasn't a bad comic. It was fun, but there isn't as much you can do when you have little kids in it. There's certain subject matter, obviously, you can't touch.
Yeah, some things that you have to like just restrict yourself.
Yeah, and Sweet. I said, well, that works for a Christian comic anyway, because it's already heavily restricted. You know, I mean, we got into trouble once where we had a supervillain, a supervillain that was kind of, if you remember the Filmation Batman cartoon, there was a supervillain called Sweet Tooth who was created for that comic, and his evil plan was to transform Gotham City's water supply into chocolate milk to make all the kids fat. You know, and that's the kind of villain we're talking about. Yeah, exactly. Well, we created a villain that was very much like that, only she was female and she was horrendously fat. And a whole bunch of fat people in these churches that got these comics distributed to us complained.
Oh man, that
sucks.
That
the villain, you know, we were body shaming, we were doing all kinds of. And it's like, yes, exactly, and it's like okay, well, you know, all right. So that was the only time we really got in trouble, and then shortly after that, you know, in 2020 we stopped. But
awesome.
Yeah.
And are you going to stick with this DEMI-FOOT character, or are you going to branch out to other IPs and stuff like that? For example, like Martin Polton, he's got endless amounts of like IPs. He's got Gothic Girl, he's got U.S. Assassin, he's got Viking Wolf. Are you planning, or do you have ambitions to do stuff like that, or just stick with DEMI-FOOT?
Well, you know, you hope for the best and prepare for the worst. So right now it's DEMI-FOOT. DEMI-FOOT has a story stories rather that I've planned for about 30 issues. So, but I do have, of course, other characters that can be introduced in DEMI-FOOT. Maybe they'll show up as a backup feature in an issue. I don't know yet. I'd like to get to the point where, for example, Clint Holinsky cranks out 2 or 3 comic books a year, right? So he's able to, you know, I'd like to be able to crank out, you know, 2 or 3 DEMI-FOOT issues a year and get to that point. And then we'll see what happens after that. If there's reaction to a guest character or a guest star, we'll see. I mean, that's how these things usually happen in you know, in terms of like organically, right? There's of course another company out there that starts with an R that's cranking out characters, and there's no demand for the characters yet. You know, they're not. I'm not seeing them introduced in stories. Yeah, and so, you know, if I have a story that includes, say, a femme fatale, you know, that runs into DEMI-FOOT and gives him some trouble, and then, you know, they're like, hey, we want to see more of that. People like it, yeah, exactly. That's how it should be. You know, you let the audience determine who comes back and who doesn't. You know, you don't create a character that you put all your money into, and then when nobody likes it, you keep trying to force it on him. You know, it's
that's what happened with me with Deathmonger. I didn't think it would blow up so much, but everybody wants him.
Well, it's fun. It's fun when that happens. You know, then you're it's great to know that there's somebody out there who really wants to see your next issue. That is such a rewarding sensation to have in any field of endeavor, really, but especially this one that we're in. So,
Heck yeah. Awesome. Good stuff, man. So let's take a look at the next. Wait. Crap. I got to take this one out. Let's do it again.
Okay.
We got 3-minute pitch
Okay.
and then random questions.
All right.
And then we'll come to the last segment of the show, which is I'll let you know in a minute. All right, we got 3-minute pitch. Let me see. 3-minute pitch. I'm gonna put a clock on the wheel, a timer on the screen, and then you just give us your pitch for DEMI-FOOT in 3 minutes, and sell it to the chat. Is the idea? No, sell it to the chat. And what would you say to convince the people in the chat to back your book today, if that were the case? No, but yeah, just give me a second. I'll put the timer up here. 3 minutes. 3 minutes, and then we'll let the thing go, and then we'll see what Darin's got for us. Let me take this down. You got to take it down and then bring up the other one. Close the ad. I am a poor. All right, 3 minutes. You ready? Let's go.
Go ahead. DEMI-FOOT Urban Sasquatch tells the story of Jake Yeager, the heir of a lumber baron dynasty in Wisconsin who has been serving in the United States Navy as a Navy diver for several years. However, he got the bends in his most recent dive, and this has ruined his joints. So he got a medical discharge and came home. So he's trying to figure out what he's going to do with his life. When he gets to his hometown, one thing leads to another, and he finds himself now possessed with the abilities of the Sasquatch. He's 999 pounds, about 7'1", and has the freakish appearance along with some other abilities as well. And so in this comic, you will see him deal with that and then move on from that and explore a world that nobody really knew was there. It was always there, but we couldn't see it because we're human beings. But because he now has his foot, no pun intended, in both worlds, both the worlds of the cryptid and our world, he's able to see into that world much more often than normal people can, and he's going to explore various monsters in the small town America, along with encountering supervillains and also occasionally a superhero, while also contending with malevolent forces within our government that seek to keep the existence of cryptids the stuff of hoax and legend. So obviously, when you have a guy who's half Sasquatch running around, that makes it really difficult to keep the existence of Sasquatch secret. So he's at odds with them. If you like big hulking monsters punching each other through buildings, if you like cybernetic organisms, cyborgs, that come to kill you, a la Terminator. If you like monsters coming out of swamps and lakes and terrorizing human beings and then fighting other creatures, you will absolutely love this. This comic book represents Dillard's best work. He loves doing this stuff, and that love oozes from each page. If you're not into monster heroes, you will still get something out of it from the human interaction and the human drama that we've inserted into the stories. It'll make you want to come back issue after issue. But primarily, it's about action. It's about teeth corroding, blood pumping, nuclear brain damage on each page. And we invite you to let us tell this story and be a part of the whole crowdfunding experience for this title. We appreciate your backing. Thank you.
Sweet. With 4 seconds to spare, awesome stuff. Clink, clink, clink. Yeah, I think that's great exercise, to get used to pitching out the good stuff. And
I'm not quite the carnival barker that I should be yet. I think, but
that's a whole nother skill set. That's difficult.
Yeah, it is.
Man,
yes.
I think you did a good job, man. Awesome stuff. And then the last one is random questions. I'm going to ask a series of random questions, and then the chat, you're also welcome to ask questions. And I'm actually going to start off with a question from the chat. Let's see. Random questions. And then we got one from Matt from Cleveland. He says, has the beard been growing since the Navy, or is that about a week's worth of growth?
Well, this is my COVID beard. I grew this during COVID, and I decided not to try. It does get trimmed once in a while, but yeah, it's now I keep it because I'm almost afraid of what's underneath it. It's been
Sweet.
5 years since I've seen my chin and neck, and I'm like, I don't want to not. Maybe it's better to just hide that, because I have had beards in the past prior, and whenever I shave it off, it's always a shock seeing your face again and seeing how it's changed. So a lot of the reason why I maintain the beard to this day is cowardice.
Sweet. Awesome. And then I think I had another question. Man, I could have swore I had another question in the chat. Apex says, will the spirit of Mel Torn appear in the future issue of DEMI-FOOT?
No, but we are actually. I have a story planned where he does meet a couple of ghosts, and one of them is Frank Lloyd Wright. And that will be something that I think people who like ghost stories will like.
Sweet, awesome. And is DEMI-FOOT is going to be an ongoing series? Is that correct?
Right. Yeah. The comic, the first issue, tells you what you need to know about the character, and it does end on a bit of a cliffhanger, but it's designed the way comic books used to be, where even if it ends on a cliffhanger, it's still a satisfying read, it's a satisfying purchase. It's something that I think comics have lost, and I'm not going to say that people who are doing 66-page comic books, in Comicsgate are doing it wrong, because obviously they've had a lot of success. But when I write a comic book, it's always in 24 to 22 page increments, because that's how I was trained to do it. And so that's what we're doing.
I'm looking forward to doing that after I'm done with Ominus, because Ominus it's planned like a big graphic novel saga type of story. And so I need those 60-something pages, but I would love to do like 22-page short stories and then get that out faster.
Yeah.
I think it'd be better. Sweet.
Yeah, and you can do it. It's becoming a lost art, but I think we're going to bring it back. Go ahead.
Yeah. And then And so have you heard of King Cryptid from Peter Samedi? Is there like will there be any kind of like similarities between DEMI-FOOT and King Cryptid?
Well, no. I did buy the first 6 issues of King Cryptid and read them to make sure that I wasn't treading on what he had created. And basically, King Cryptid is more of a metaphysical character. And his stories are dreamy and out there, and mine's much more grounded. It's more like OG Swamp Thing, right? Okay. I haven't. You'll hear me compare DEMI-FOOT to Swamp Thing more than you will the Hulk, because the original premise for Swamp Thing was a scientist who turns himself into a plant, or gets turned into a plant because of mafia interference with an experiment, that kind of thing, and that's what this guy is. So much more grounded. King Cryptid seems to exist in alternate dimensions, that look like they're straight out of Ditko's imagination. So, I mean, King Cryptid and DEMI-FOOT are very different, even though they both share a similar source. Yeah.
Sweet. And is DEMI-FOOT going to take on other monsters? I mean, because you mentioned Sasquatch, the influence of Sasquatch. Is he going to fight like a Yeti or Bigfoot or other monsters of that nature, Frankenstein, werewolves?
Yeah.
Is that
yes. He's going to be fighting and encountering the Hodag, which is the Rhinelander, Wisconsin's monster, and that's going to be his chief rival in that area. But he also will encounter the Michigan Dogman, which is kind of like a werewolf, except it doesn't. The Dogman does not change into a human being. The Dogman is always. Yeah. Go ahead.
Is that Michigan lore, like folklore, or is that?
Yeah, the Michigan. It's actually the Michigan Wisconsin Dogman is this thing that people occasionally see that looks kind of like the werewolves from The Howling, except they don't change into human beings. They're that way all the time, and they see them in broad daylight. They see them at night, and it's worth investigating. There's a YouTube channel called Dogman Encounters by a flamboyant guy named Vic Cundiff, who he interviews people who who say they have encounters. So you might want to check that out when you have some
Crazy.
time. Yeah, there's also the Mineral Point Vampire. There's also the Monster of Kettle Moraine. These are all in Wisconsin. You have
Sweet.
you have Peppy, the monster in Lake Pepin, which is on the border of Minnesota and Wisconsin. So I mean, there's plenty of monsters that he encounters, but again, that's not all that he'll be doing. You know, we've also
Nice.
got cyborgs, we've got aliens, we've got all kinds of stuff. So
Sweet. And then I want to just hit on this. And this is back and forth that I saw in the chat. I just had to hit on this because it's funny. Apex starts off with the last time I saw a spinner rack was in 1990. And then it says, I see a rack every day. Woo! And then girls with great racks spinning spinner racks. And then Apex says, if I had my version of the Man Show, I would have girls with great racks spinning spinner racks at the end of the show. This should encourage young men to read comics again. Yeah, that's funny. And then Elliot's plan to convert Lima's water supply into Inca Cola. Yes. And awesome. And my next question: what is something interesting that you learned from that Danny O'Neill book you mentioned earlier? Something that you normally wouldn't find out, like that. What is something unique that you learned from that?
Denny O'Neill has a chart in that book that talks about how you have your A plot, your B plot, and your C plot, and how many pages you should devote to each one in each issue. And then each subsequent issue, the C plot gets bigger and becomes the B plot and becomes the A plot. That way you can keep people reading the comic, even though you may have concluded a particular storyline. It's not just how they do it in soap operas and things like that. It's also a comic book, and it's one way you can do it. Now that is not something that I think a lot of comics do anymore. They don't do A and B and C plots anymore, but it's how you seed the future so that you keep, because you always want to satisfy your audience, but at the same time make them want more. Right, so they come back. It's kind of a dying art. And yes, sometimes storylines end and they have a finite ending, and that's great. But when you're doing an ongoing book, you kind of need that. One of the reasons why I think that the MCU did so poorly after Endgame is because they didn't have anything set up for after Endgame.
Yeah, everything was just
after
there.
Endgame. Yeah. It's like Endgame is the perfect place to stop watching those movies and TV shows because they haven't really had a plan since then, and that's you don't want your comic to be that way necessarily. If you plan on starting up a new story, you might want to allude to it in some way when you have the chance while it's still hot. And again, it's a different kind of comic book publishing though back then, but still a lot of what Denny O'Neill talks about in that book is true today.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. And we got a good question here from Dennis. He says, okay, Darin, down to the brass tacks. What did you think lacked with your previous attempt to fund your campaign? That's a good question, I think.
Honestly, it was all me. I mean, Dillard did outstanding artwork and everything. I just wasn't quite the carnival barker that I needed to be. I think I had some preconceived notions about how I wanted to run my campaign. I didn't look enough at other people's campaigns to see what they were doing and how they're being successful. Because earlier I mentioned I did not want a digital tier. I'm like I'm into paper. Comic books should be read on paper, not digital. That was something that had to change. And I'm happy to change it. And so that was an example. Also, even though I really wanted people to feel secure with the way that Indiegogo did it, where it's an all or nothing campaign. If you don't reach goal, in 2 months you get your money back. I really wanted to give people the reassurance that this was going towards the comic. And I think I could have done that without having the fixed goal. But I think that this campaign is going to be better. There's more options. And 24-hour card is going to be something we're going to be doing. So I'm excited to see how that works and how that plays out. And no, Dennis Rodriguez, I'm not blaming EVS. EVS owes me nothing, and I would not demand anything of him. but he has already done a great service to
Heck yeah.
not just conservative comic book creators, but creators in general. So
Heck yeah. Yeah, just to touch on what Darin's saying, also, yeah, like there's a formula that's been out there for the longest time, and I think it works. I think it's nothing that you can never do is 100% proven to give you returns, but there's like certain things that you've seen pop up again, like the launch day is super important. You get a big surge of backers on launch day. You also get a big surge of backers on closeout day. So normally you want to set up something really big for that day, so you get more asses in the seats, more people backing. You know, so I think that's something that is consistent along all campaigns. And then we see these 24-hour covers, these 24-hour variants, these 24-hour trading cards, and they're also there to incentivize backing on any specific given day. And yeah, so I think that works. And I also think 100% like promoting with anticipation, like a month or 2 months in advance, I think would also help out a lot. So just keep people aware of what's coming on the horizon. Also, I've seen so many campaigns that just like spring out of nowhere, and then they don't really hit the numbers that I'm assuming that they would have projected. Also, there's these formulas that I think sometimes people need to. I think people need to pay attention to that. No, and it's I mean, it's not going to hurt you to implement that stuff. No, I think if anything, it'll help you out. No? So But yeah, I think that's I think it's good to look at other campaigns and see what they're doing right, and then try to emulate to the best of your ability. Also, no?
Like him or hate him, even Liam Gray. Sorry, try to say that 10 times fast. Gave me some good pointers that I'm incorporating into this campaign as well, because he's had successful campaigns. So why wouldn't I listen to him, right?
Heck yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome stuff. And then great start of your answer, not common these days. Yeah, sweet, awesome stuff, man. And had the influence of Sasquatch as he's fighting other characters. Will you ever consider like doing a crossover with other CG artists, books, IPs?
I would,
fantasy world?
but I would, but I got to get the comic out there first so people know who, because I mean, at this point, I don't know that how many people would want to watch, or read a comic of DEMI-FOOT encountering, a character like She or, Cordrath or, or Sheriff Brogdon from Bronze-Star, because they don't know who DEMI-FOOT is yet. I got to get the character introduced to the audience first before that any of that kind of stuff can happen. So I have to put one foot in front of the other and make sure the first things come first. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm open to the idea. I'm open to, anything like that. I mean, I'd even be, unopposed to an encounter between a character like Pitt and DEMI-FOOT.
That would be nice.
I don't know what would happen, but yeah. I mean, first things first. People have to get to know DEMI-FOOT first, and then he's got to earn that spot. So that's what we're doing.
Awesome stuff, man. And I think I got a comment here earlier from Apex. I don't know if he's joking or not, but he says that he also served. You served in the Marines, I think you said earlier.
I was in the submarine service of the Navy, so I was on board USS Trepang. Yeah. I was what they call a bubblehead. The rest of the branch calls us bubbleheads because we're underwater. And
sweet.
So I don't know what Apex was in, if he was in the same service or not. But
I think I missed that.
Yeah.
He only mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
Well, sweet stuff, man. And how was your experience with that?
Oh, in the service, it was, it was, okay. So it was a means to an end initially. I had dropped out of college and joined the Navy.
Navy veteran, he says. Navy veteran.
Ah, okay. There he is. Okay, good. Yeah. I dropped out of college and joined the Navy, and exiled myself from humanity by joining the submarine service. Just to give you an idea, in 1997, I spent 10 of the 12 months of that year underwater.
Wow.
So I was, and I used that time to, to pay off my student debt And so when I got out of the Navy, I had some benefits so I could go back to college, and I didn't have any debt, and it was great.
Sweet.
Something I should have, yeah. But more importantly, though, we got to go all over the world. Visit places like we went to Australia, South Africa, Crete, and various other places that I probably shouldn't mention, so I won't. But it was quite the job. It's not quite like it is in the movies. The movies basically are all, basically the movies are like The Hunt for Red October, for example, that kind of stuff. That is submarine life with all the boring parts taken out. So you don't get to see some of the more mundane stuff, like how they shower, how they get ready for work, how meals are prepared, things like that. So I was a sonar operator, or sonar technician was my title. I operated the equipment while we were underway, and then when we were in port, I did regular maintenance on the sonar equipment so that it wouldn't fail on us when we took out the boat again. That was my job. So
crazy. Have you ever seen combat?
The Navy's always couldn't really tell you that. Can't confirm or deny. But I was let's just say I was in the service during the East Timor situation and in Bosnia and stuff like that. So
thank you for
there's a lot of stuff. Oh, well, thank you for that. Yes, and especially coming from somebody who is in Peru, that's very special. Thank you very much for that.
Oh yeah, because I don't know if you guys know this, but anything that the U.S. does has repercussions all over the world. So you guys maintain the peace, and that's something that we also benefit from. You guys are in trouble. We also, we get blowback from that stuff also. So whatever you guys do, especially here on this hemisphere, we also feel the aftershocks, the after effects. So as long as the U.S. has a powerful military, we're happy over here. So we're good.
It's funny you reminded me of this because I do have a day job where I work from people from Bogota, Colombia, and they were exceptionally concerned about our most recent election. So you can imagine. So I just thought of that just now. But
heck yeah, because Colombia right now, they're under a very, very leftist regime. They got a person in office who was at one time an actual terrorist. I have no idea how that happens, but we had something like that similar here also. So it's crazy. That's why we got to take back the schools and universities, because otherwise they're going to keep seeing a bunch of these brainwashed zombies all the time. Awesome stuff, man. And I think I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think that's a worldwide problem, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's it for my random questions. And now we're going to enter my last segment. That's it for the wheel. We're done with the wheel. Now we're going to enter the last segment of the show. Let me see if I can get my video working. This last segment is sorry. Hold on, let me take that down. But this last segment is called Rapid Fire. I'm going to ask you just very quickly, a series of questions, and you have to select one or the other. For example, I'll ask you Pepsi or Coke, and then you mention one of those two. You always have the option of saying both or saying neither. No, but that would be bitching out, and then we recommend not to bitch out.
Okay, no bitching.
You're free to do what you like. But but let's see if I get my segment going. Let's see all right. So let's see the video. Crap. It didn't work. Rapid fire. There it is. But yeah, is this where Elliot takes a shot? No, I'm not taking the shot. The chat loves to see me drunk. No, I'm not taking the shot.
It's kind of early, isn't it?
Yeah. But they don't care. No, if I were to set up a goal, like let's get like $50 on your campaign, and I'll take a shot, and then I'm pretty sure these guys would pitch in. So when you do your campaign, you come on back, and then we'll try to get you some backers, and then I'll take shots.
Okay.
I'll take shots and take one for the team. Yeah, so what's going on? So I'm sorry. Yeah, Arhida's in the chat. What's going on? He says Venezuelan boats, Colombian boats, the drugs all go boom the same. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
and Scribe is here. Scribe, what's going on, Scribe? All right, so let's begin. Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
X-Men or Avengers?
X-Men.
X-Men or Justice League?
Justice League.
Justice League or Alpha Flight?
Alpha Flight.
Interesting. Superman or Batman?
Superman.
Stan Lee or Jim Shooter?
Stan Lee.
We'll all get drunk. Stan Lee, sweet, nice, good pick. John Buscema or Neil Adams?
Neil Adams.
John Byrne or John Romita Sr.?
John Byrne.
The dad.
Yeah, John.
Oh
Byrne.
wow. Scott Williams or Terry Austin for Inkers?
Terry Austin.
Chris Claremont or Frank Miller?
Chris Claremont.
Claremont, sweet. He says, "Is this where Elliot takes shots?" No, I'm not taking shots. We'll all get drunk. No, next stream. Next time I have Darin on. X-Men #1 by Jim Lee or Spider-Man #1 by Todd McFarlane?
X-Men #1 by Jim Lee.
Secret Wars or Crisis on Infinite Earths?
Secret Wars.
Poetry or prose?
Prose.
Plotter or panzer? Are you familiar with those terms? Plotter or panzer? Plotter is someone that plans everything out. Panzer just goes with it. I don't know if you're familiar with those. Plotter. Jim Ree. Character driven or story or driven? Plots.
Story driven. Story driven plots.
Alan Moore or Neil Gaiman?
Oh, do I want a vacation in Iran or Iraq? Let's see here. Right now I'm going to go with Alan Moore, but there's not much of a choice there.
The lesser of the two evils.
Yeah.
Comics Gate or Rippaverse? That's a tricky one.
Comics Gate.
Sweet. Let's see. John Dillard or Dale Keown?
Oh, don't make me choose. Look, I've met John. I've never met Dale Keown, so I'm going to go with John because I know John.
John Dillard or Clint Helinski? I'll put you in the hot seat. I'm going to show this to Clint. Look what he said, man. Look what he said.
I'm in a project right now with John Dillard, so I got to say John Dillard.
Oh man, I'm gonna show Clint. Clint, look what he said, man. Somebody clip this. Sweet. Sasquatch or Bigfoot?
I prefer the term Sasquatch over Bigfoot. So yeah.
Bigfoot or Yeti?
Bigfoot.
Sasquatch or Yeti? Is that different?
Sasquatch. Yeah.
And are you familiar with Chupacabra?
Yes, I am.
Chupacabra or the Michigan Dogman? Are they the same?
No, Chupacabra Bloodsucker is. I have my own ideas about what that actually is, but it's south of the border, and it exsanguinates livestock. But I prefer the Dogman.
Sweet. And then to finish it off, but then it says AIDS or cancer. Fucking idiot. You don't have to answer that one. That one's crazy.
Well, you can beat cancer. So
that is true.
Depending on what kind it is, you can beat it. So I'll take cancer over AIDS.
Yeah, fingernail cancer. We can beat it. Heck yeah. It says hemorrhoids or butt plugs.
Oh, wow. I think I'd rather have hemorrhoids than have a butt plug. Yeah, it's like again, preparation H exists. So
heck yeah, one you could treat. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so then that'll be it for the segment. Thank you very much for enduring the questions. People are
was not expecting those, by the way.
Sweet. So we got a segment. Katie Diz on the clip that section. Picking John Dillard over. I'm just kidding, man. But yeah, thank you very much for coming on the show, and we'd love to have you come back on the show when the campaign is live, so we can take some shots, get people drunk, and then get some backers.
All right,
sweet,
outstanding,
awesome.
Thank you very much for having me, Elliot.
Yeah, no problem at all. It was a blast.
Yeah.
And the people in the chat, I will be back tomorrow on my solo show. Tomorrow, Thursday at 11:30. It's the exact same time. I'll be here tomorrow, and I'll give you some updates on Ominus, and just kick it. And we'll talk about Razor Fist, Leam, if it's possible. I don't know. I don't know. There's so much drama going on in the LBC,
Yeah.
so so we'll see what happens tomorrow. So yeah, so guys, tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll be here live, and then that's it. And then I'll catch you guys at the next show. So thank you very much, Darin. It was a pleasure. Hope to have you back soon.
Thanks again.
Awesome. And now it's time for my dismount. Very difficult dismount because I always screw this up. Not this time. I think I got it this time. All right, guys. I will see you guys tomorrow at this exact same time. Oh, don't forget, like, share, the video, share it out, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I do shows every week, so I'll be back tomorrow, and then I'll be back the week after that. So you guys tune in every week, and I'll see you guys later. You guys be safe. Goodbye.